African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of November 26, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. The units of the North Troop Group inflicted defeat on formations of 3 mechanized Jaeger airborne assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Magorka, Maropli, Pavlovka, Alexievka, Andriivka, and Novaya Sek in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, defeat was inflicted on units of 2 mechanized, motorized infantry brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Volchansk, Vilcha, Yudy, Katnai, and Staritsa in the Kharkiv region. The enemy lost more than 180 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 15 cars, a 105mm M101 howitzer produced in the USA, and an electronic warfare station. 2 ammunition depots and 7 supply depots were destroyed. Units of the West Troop Group improved their tactical position. Defeat was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 5 mechanized assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Monikonovka, Starovorovka, Podoli, Nechvolodovka, Blagodatovka, Gusinka, Kovsharovka in the Kharkiv region, and Dniprova in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to up to 230 servicemen, an infantry fighting vehicle, an M113 armored personnel carrier produced in the USA, 2 armored combat vehicles, 20 cars, 3 field artillery guns, 10 electronic warfare stations, and 6 ammunition depots. Units of the South Troop Group occupied more advantageous lines and positions. Defeat was inflicted on formations of 3 mechanized, mountain assault, airmobile, artillery, assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a Marine brigade in the areas of the settlements of Severisk, Reznikovka, Platinovka, Slavyansk, Piskanovka, Konstantinovka, and Berstok in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 275 servicemen, an infantry fighting vehicle, a Kazakh armored car, 16 cars, and 2 artillery guns. A US-made and /TPQ-50 counter-battery radar station, an electronic warfare station, and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Units of the Center Troop Group improved their position along the front line. Defeat was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized, Jaeger, airmobile, airborne assault brigades, 3 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 Marine brigades, and 3 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Torsko, Rodinsko, Teretskoy, Derozno, Artemovka, Udakno in the Donetsk People's Republic, Novopavlovka, and Ivanovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. In the settlement of Krasnoarmysk in the Donetsk People's Republic, assault groups of the Second Army are successfully advancing northward in the Central and Donetsk micro-districts. They continue clearing the settlement of Rovna in the Donetsk People's Republic. 8 attacks were repelled by units of the 210th Assault Regiment and the 95th Airborne Assault Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine from the area of the settlement of Grishino in the Donetsk People's Republic, and in the direction of the settlement of Kodlino in the Donetsk People's Republic, aimed at breaking the encirclement of the Ukrainian group. Up to 35 servicemen and a US-made Max Pro armored combat vehicle were destroyed. In the settlement of Dmitrov in the Donetsk People's Republic, assault units of the 51st Army continue to drive the enemy out of the eastern, western, and southern parts of the city. Over the past day, more than 210 servicemen, 7 armored combat vehicles, 3 cars, and 2 field artillery guns were destroyed on the Krasnoarmysk direction. In total, in the area of responsibility of the Center Group of Troops, enemy losses amounted to more than 450 servicemen, 1 tank, 7 armored combat vehicles, 4 pickups, 2 field artillery guns, and a US-made and /TPQ-50 counter-battery radar station. Units of the East Group of troops continued to advance deep into the enemy's defense. Damage was inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized, 2 assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Malinovka, Dobropoli, Huliapol and Zaporizhia region, Mayak and Otradno in Dnipropetrovsk region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost more than 240 servicemen, 1 tank, 10 vehicles, 1 field artillery gun, 1 electronic warfare station, and 4 supply depots. Units of the Dnepr group of troops inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of mechanized and mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Lukyanovskoye, Odorovka, Novoyakovlevka in Zaporizhia region, Nikolskoye and Ivanovka in Kherson region. Up to 85 servicemen, 1 armored combat vehicle, 12 vehicles, 1 artillery gun, 2 radar stations, 2 ammunition depots, and 2 fuel depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces groups inflicted damage on an ammunition production workshop, energy facilities, and transport infrastructure of Ukraine used in the interests of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, as well as on temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 143 areas. Air defense means shot down 6 guided aerial bombs for Mars multiple launch rocket system rockets made in the USA, and 154 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 668 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 98,851 unmanned aerial vehicles, 638 surface-to-air missile systems, 26,266 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,620 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 31,564 field artillery and mortars, 47,712 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.